Hey guys, welcome back to the Curly Reader. My name's Amanda, and today I want to talk with you about all of the books that I DNF'd in 2020. All right, so in 2020, I DNF'd 7 books. So it wasn't a huge ton. Now, when I DNF books, when I put them on my DNF list, they are books that I'm not planning on ever going back to, and I DNF for a specific reason. Like, I got far enough into it that I'm like, I don't want to go back to this. I don't want this just to be removed from my shelves. I have a shelf on Goodreads that's DNF, that is an exclusive shelf, so that if I DNF a book, when I'm looking through things again, I see that it's DNF'd and I'm not like tempted to put it back on my want to read list. Sometimes I do, but most of the time I don't. So let's just kind of get into this. I don't think I'm going to go in any specific order. I'm just going to go kind of in the order that I have them here. So the first book that I'm going to talk about is The Prince and the Troll by Rainbow Rowell. This is one, Amazon put out a thing that it was like a companion set of like short stories that are fairy tales for today, and they were by a lot of like well-known authors. So I went ahead and checked it out, and it was just not for me. I was so bored out of my gourd. Like, I couldn't be bothered. I tried listening to the audiobook, nah. I tried reading the ebook, nah. I got like 85% done with it, and I just didn't care. I'm like, this is just dumb. So I DNF'd it. All right, the next one that I have on this list, and this one, I'm still waffling on. This one might go back on my want to read list. I haven't decided yet. There's so many books out there, and so it's hard for me to like, yeah, anyway. All right, but that book is The Readers of Broken Wheel Recommend by Katrina Bivald. This one is a translated work, I know that, and it's long. And it's one that was on my list because it came up as a result as something to read if you like Gilmore Girls, which I'm obsessed with, hence the shirt. But I was getting confused with all the different characters. I was listening to the audiobook, and there were so many characters, and I couldn't keep them straight, and I was just not captivated by it, and so I DNF'd it. And I think I DNF'd it at about 20%. So I don't know. I might still go back to it because I know people have read it and really enjoyed it, and so I don't know. I don't know yet. All right, the next one on this list is Mooncakes by Susan Walker and Wendy Sue. This is a graphic novel. It's a YA graphic novel about a witch and a werewolf, and it just wasn't for me. I got like maybe 10 pages in, and I'm like, yep, no, I'm good. It just wasn't. I don't read a ton of YA, and I just was too angsty, and I'm like, nah, I was over it. So it got DNF'd. As you can tell, I'm very eloquent when talking about why I DNF things. Most of the time, it's because I just didn't like it. This next one, this next one's rough. The next one that I have here is Black by Ted Dekker. This is one that my husband has been wanting me to read for many, many, many years. We tried listening to the audiobook during a road trip that we took this summer, and we might have gotten in a fight because I kept calling it stupid. You know, it is what it is. My husband loves the Circle series by Ted Dekker, and he's been wanting me to read it for a while. I tried reading the physical book, and I just couldn't be bothered. The audiobook is horrible. Like, the narrator is just bad, and I'm sure that contributed a lot to me not finishing it, and all of that. But the writing was just so bad, and I was confused. I didn't understand what was happening. The dialogue was just totally not believable. It was just cheesy, and no. I've heard that once you get in, like, to the end of the book, it starts making sense. But I'm not going to spend my whole time reading a book not understanding anything, not caring about it, and then at the end be like, oh, okay. Like, it's not a short book. That's a lot of time invested in being bored. So that one got DNF'd. And I have read some reviews on this, and this is definitely a book that you either love it or you hate it, and I definitely felt in the hate it category, so whatever. All right, another one on this list for no apparent reason other than it just wasn't for me is The Secret Women by Sheila Williams. This is one that I picked up because I was trying to read more books by Black authors, and this one kind of sounded interesting to me. It's about 3 different women whose mothers have all passed away, and so they decide they're going to help each other go through their mother's belongings. And I was bored. The women were all much older than me, and I think there was a disconnect there in the relatability aspect, and so it just wasn't keeping my interest, so it got DNF'd. The next one on this list I feel really bad about because it was a buddy read, and that is Leviathan Wakes by James S.A. Corey. This is a sci-fi like space saga that I was really interested in reading because my husband wanted to start watching the TV series, and then I found out it was based off a book, and I'm like, ooh, I should read the book. But it was just too much sci-fi for me. I like sci-fi, but this was just way too much. I was confused. I'm not a high fantasy sort of person, and I think this was like that except sci-fi. Like, it's just too many storylines, too many people, too much going on, and I was done. So I felt really bad about that. Another buddy read that I DNF'd that I felt really, really bad about is The Forgotten Garden by Kate Morton. This was another one. It's a dual timeline, but it's not just dual timeline. It's like dual perspective, but multiple timelines within the 2 perspectives. So it's like this person when they're 5, and then this person when they're 20, and then this person when they're 18, and this person when they're 36, and this person when they're 2, and this person when they're, and it would like bounce back and forth. And I'm like, what is happening? And it's a really long book, and I finally got to the point where I was like, I do not feel like committing the time to this. I'm not having fun with this anymore. And so it got DNF'd. And that was another buddy read, and I felt really, really bad about it, but it just was not for me. A middle grade that I DNF'd was The Midnight Gang by David Walliams. This was just one that it was just, I picked it up because it looked very Roald Dahl-esque. I like Roald Dahl's books. This one was really thick again, and it was just dumb. Like, it just wasn't for me. We'll just leave it at that. I thought it was just ridiculous, and it just wasn't for me. So that got DNF'd. And that's it. Hey guys, editing Amanda here. I completely forgot to mention one of the books that I DNF'd that was actually on my annual TBR, and that is The Library Book by Susan Orleans. I DNF'd that one. It just wasn't keeping my interest. It's about the LA public library fire, and it had to do with like library history and the fire as well, and I just was bored with it, and I wasn't up for it, so that one got DNF'd as well. So one more to add to the list. That's all of them. Those are, I guess that's 8 books that I DNF'd, not 7. I can count, I promise. That I DNF'd in 2020. So if you've read any of these, I'd love to hear your opinions of them down below. If you have any books that you DNF this year that you feel really strongly about, feel free to share those as well. Do you DNF books? Because there are people out there that do not DNF books. I'm not one of those people, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be making this video. So anyway, yeah, I guess that's going to do it for today. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and I hope that you stick around and subscribe. And until next time, see ya.